Victoria had asked B Games for a full refund, but in June she was offered just £6, which was eventually raised to £193.50. But that would still have left her over £310 out of pocket.
I'd like all my money back. I've never used their company and they've been billing me indirectly through a third party, and I think that's wrong.
Meanwhile, although she hasn't received any explanation from EE, her phone company did attempt to refund her £186.10, an offer she declined.
So EE, out of the blue, sent me a cheque with no letter or explanation.
Victoria's adamant she wants all her money back, so she's refused the offers from both companies. And she doesn't think any business should be able to just add charges to your phone bill.
I've never given my bank details or personal information to EE, and that is wrong. I think I'd like EE to put the name of B Games on my bill so I can question that directly, not it to be hidden under some sort of heading which I didn't really think of questioning and perhaps should have.
Like us, consumer rights expert Martyn James says he's hearing more and more cases of people having charges they know nothing about added to their bills.
Millions of people might be unaware of sneaky charges that have crept onto their mobile phone bills. You might not even realise it because sometimes they're small, but you absolutely do have to opt into these services, and no company should be billing you through your mobile phone or your bank account or credit card without your express permission. So if you spot a debit that hasn't been authorised, always report it and always make a complaint if it's not dealt with.
Hugh Whelan contacted us after having the same problem. Last winter, he too spotted an unusual charge on his monthly bill.
I found a strange amount of money being taken off the account. I called the mobile phone company 3 for an explanation as to what this amount of money was.
3 told Hugh that he'd apparently signed up for a series of German lessons via a company called J1 Media.
My initial reaction was just stupefied. I've never signed up for any language service, and I certainly wouldn't do that online.
While Hugh certainly didn't remember taking any German classes, he did recall receiving a text message a few months earlier.
It says, free message. Thank you for subscribing to Learn German for £4.50 every week from Learning Tree Media until you text STOP to 83463.
It seems this message was Hugh's chance to opt out of paying for the lessons. But having no memory of ever signing up for German in the first place, he assumed the text was a fraud and he ignored it.
If you are being asked to text STOP to a strange 5-digit number for something you don't know about, you immediately think this is a scam.
As he dug deeper, it got worse. Hugh discovered he'd actually been paying for the phantom German lessons for at least a year.
By the time I went back to look over all of the bills that I could find, I realised that the total that had been taken off me as a result of this service was approaching £240.
Hugh asked 3 to stop the payments and put him in contact with the company which had been charging him, J1 Media.
Initially, I got connected to someone operating out of the US. They told me they couldn't do anything about this money.
But Hugh wasn't about to let it go. He wrote to the chief executive of 3 to get some answers and his money back. He was told J1 Media insisted that he had signed up for the service. Nevertheless, it was offering to refund him £100 as a goodwill gesture. And 3 said it would credit £50 to his account. But, just like Victoria, he's refused both offers, insisting he should be refunded fully for a service he never signed up to.
To date, the response that I've had has been poor, to say the least. So 3 have done nothing about my problem, aside from offering a derisory amount of money. J1 Media, I have launched a county court proceeding against to recoup the money that they've taken from me without my knowledge.
And Martyn James says Hugh and Victoria are in a position to demand all their money back. And you should be too, unless a company can prove that you've agreed to its service.
Just like any subscription, as long as you're within the terms of the contract, they should cancel that, and they should also refund you if they've been debiting you without your express permission. You can also ask them to prove how they've got that permission, and if they can't provide a transcript of a recording or anything that you've signed or clicked online, then they should be refunding you the money.
But Victoria's beef isn't just with the mysterious businesses sneaking these charges onto your bills. She's furious with the phone companies for letting them do it.
You just wonder how many other people are being billed like this and not knowing that they're being billed. These companies are making a lot of money. If they've made 500 quid out of me, I mean, what have they made out of other people?
I must say, I do like her tenacity.
Yes.
Well, plenty of you are already getting in touch to say that you've had some of these mysterious charges as well. Keith, for example, says that his 93-year-old mum had to change her phone number to stop paying them. But the phone companies in Victoria and Hugh's cases, EE and 3, as well as the company Victoria had signed up with, B Games, have all told us pretty much the same thing. They say that no one should have signed up for services without being aware, because it would have involved a two-stage verification process. Firstly, you would have to click onto an advert, and then clicking to sign up from a page where the terms and conditions would have been very clear.
You'd be clear if you did that, wouldn't you? And indeed, the companies go on to say that Victoria and Hugh would also have received a welcome message with details of charges, as well as monthly reminders. Now, they both insist they had none of those things. So it is always possible, of course, that they mistook any of the messages for spam, but there does seem to be a very large gap between their understanding of what's gone on and what the companies claim should have happened.
How often have we heard that?
Yeah.
But for its part, B Games said that all its offers had been in line with regulation requirements. But a good result here, because as a goodwill gesture, it's now offered to give Victoria a full refund. And Hugh's mobile company 3 said it had cancelled his subscription as soon as he had got in touch. And what's more, it's made an offer of compensation, which so far, by the way, he has rejected.
Well, both 3 and EE stress that in line with new regulations, any third-party company offering services through its networks has to provide additional verification from the customers themselves before they can take payment. EE says that it was the very first company to introduce this, and as a result, complaints about this matter have almost completely disappeared. And now Julia's over there with someone who can tell us if the remaining companies are going to follow suit, Julia.
Yes, well, with me is Joe Prowse, who's from the organisation that regulates services that you pay for through your mobile phone. They're called the Phone Paid Services Authority. Joe, you've just seen two very, very unhappy people who've been paying for things that they're absolutely adamant that they never signed up for and wouldn't want in the first place. How common a story is that?
Well, firstly, I should say that I'm very sorry to hear what Hugh and Victoria have experienced. Nobody wants unwanted charges on their phone bill, and it is something that has become more common. We are hearing about this from other consumers, and this is why we are changing the rules to ensure that this doesn't happen in the future.
What will the new rules be then?
So what we're looking to do is to make a phone payment purchase the same as what you're used to for other online purchases. So there will be a two-step sign-up process, which will include a PIN and a password and a second confirmation button. And you will receive a receipt after every purchase, which will give you information about what you've bought and what you've spent.
Well, I suppose people who find that they have been paying for things that they didn't want to know how to get their money back and what they should be doing about it.
Well, the first thing that we would say to every consumer is make sure that you check your phone bill. Don't leave it. Check it every month. And if you've got any queries around sort of unwanted charges or unexplained charges, to query those. Don't ignore any emails or texts that you get, because they are often giving you important information about the service.
Well, even though, as we heard in that film, some people think, oh, it's spam, and, you know, if I click on this, then I'm leading myself into even worse trouble.
We do hear that from a lot of people, that they're concerned it's spam, but it's not. It's a message which is telling you what you've purchased, how much it's cost, and importantly, that if it's a service that you don't actually want, it can inform you actually how to get out of that service which is texting stop to the number that is provided.
And if people are watching this and thinking, oh, I'm going to go and have a look at my bill now, and they're getting worried about it,
Yeah.
is there a point of information where they can go?
Yes, well, we've got a website with a wealth of information for consumers on there at psauthority.org.uk.
Jo, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Back to you two on the sofa.
Well, I can tell you, I always check not just my mobile bill, but in fact all of my bills. And if I did find a charge of which I wasn't aware, I'd be getting in touch with a company pretty sharpish.
I'd be with you, I certainly would. I might with a magnifying glass. Now, that's exactly what you did with us after yesterday's programme. You almost broke our in-mail, I'm glad to say, with your emails about